go see this band, if you possibly still can, on their very first tour, because someday soon, you'll want to be able to say you did. Let's think about that. Hey everybody, I'm Wayne, your metal professor. Thanks so much for watching. And yes, my son Ian and I had the absolute pleasure of catching Dogma's show in Lima, Peru on July the 10th. Short version, the show was excellent. The band delivered those extremely well-written songs even more powerfully live than they are on the record. And if there was anybody in the crowd who was not about 187% into this performance, I didn't see him. As the opening band, the opening act, Dogma played 10 of the 11 songs on the version of their album that most of us have. That is a lot. They played for 42 minutes, and I know that on other gigs they have played for even longer. So I really don't need to tell you what the songs were. Now I could tell you the set list order, but I'm not going to, because I found it kind of a pleasant surprise, and I hope you will too. And before we go any further, let me emphasize something. Whenever I review anything, whether it's a product or a band or an album or a performance or whatever it is, I am honest with you. Whether or not I know the person or persons involved, and regardless of whether I've known them a long time or I've met them once for 5 minutes or whatever it is, if there's something that I don't like or I don't think is very good, I will tell you. I'll be diplomatic about it, but I will be straight with you. So, what I'm going to tell you now about Dogma's performance is the unvarnished truth from my perspective. Dogma slayed. On a small stage, I mean, this thing was tiny, maybe 5 times the length of my dining room table, and between Windrose's stuff, which was at the back of the stage, and then Dogma's equipment in front of it, the ladies had 6, 7, 8, maybe at a maximum 10 feet to move, up and back. And for that small space, they put on an excellent performance. And the musicianship was spot on. And this is kind of amazing for several reasons. First, this was only the 7th official gig the band has ever played. Second, these individual specific musicians have not been playing with each other for very long. And third, who knows how much onstage experience any of them actually has. I mean, it's one thing, right, to have a steady Friday night gig down at the local bar and grill. It's quite another thing, or so I am told, to be on an actual tour playing every night to large-ish crowds in a different place. And given all those factors, these nuns were tight. You would not know that they had not been playing together for a long time. Guitar players and vocalists get most of the love and most of the attention in reviews and so forth, and I understand that because the vocals and the guitar are the most noticeable. But the bass and the drums make everything else possible. And I will tell you that Nixie and Abrahel held down solidly 42 minutes of metal just about as well as I have ever seen and heard. And I've seen Iron Maiden a bunch of times. If you're a Maiden fan, you know what level of praise that is. Nixie, obviously she plays the bass really well, and she has the most intimidating on-stage stare that I have ever seen. She could give lessons to Gene Simmons. And Abrahel, to play the drums as long and as fast and as powerfully as she did takes stamina and skill, and it's the ability that separates the professionals from the rest of us. Abrahel is a pro. Our guitar players here, Lamia and the newest member of the band, Rusalka, coordinated very well together. Lamia took, I think, the lion's share of the lead work, and she shredded just as well live as you hear on the record. Yeah, I know shredding is not the only aspect of playing guitar in a metal band, but it's a pretty damned important one. Rusalka, while she may not have had quite as many lead breaks as Lamia did, nonetheless has serious chops. Interesting side note, by the way, maybe just interesting to guitar players. Lamia has some pretty sick finger vibrato, which she used throughout the set, and Rusalka did all of the bridge vibrato. So, I don't know, I just thought that was kind of a neat splitting of duties, as it were. And I know what you're thinking now, but Lilith, what about Lilith? We'll get to Lilith, hang on. First, I want to tell you that I looked and listened as keenly as I could for any backing tracks, because that's such a hot, contentious issue in music in general right now. And I have seen a few social media posts of people saying, oh, Lilith uses backing tracks. Well, if she did, they were done so flawlessly that I could not detect them. The telltale signs of backing track use are that the backing tracks sound exactly like the record. Also, the musicians' movements with their mouth or their hands or their feet or what the hell ever don't always exactly match up to the music. Well, neither of those was the case on stage. Now, obviously, the band used backing tracks for the synth and for some of the background vocals, especially those big Latinesque choral bits. But obviously, I mean, do we really expect them to go on tour with a full church chorus behind them in a bus? Probably not. So, but the four main instruments and the vocals, as far as I could tell, those were 100% live. And the vocals and instrumentation differed just enough from the tracks on the record that, well, they couldn't have been taken from the record because they were a little bit different. The musicians made some choices that were probably not even noticeable to non-musicians or to people who weren't specifically looking and listening for those things, but these changes did not affect the impact or the characteristics of the songs, and everything just sounded great. Now, Lilith. What about Lilith's vocals? They were magnificent. And one more thing about Lilith's voice. I posted an interview-esque thing online with Dogma here a few weeks ago, here on the channel. I sent some questions to the band, and Lilith recorded answers and sent them back. And I've seen some people in the comments say, oh, that's clearly an AI voice, oh, 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 and even including those emojis, right? The little laughy face that's laughing so hard, the eyes are closed and tears are gushing out the side, which, can I be honest, I think that looks stupid as and nobody should ever use that emoji. But anyway, the telltale signs of AI voices are that there is a pause of exactly the same amount of time after each piece of punctuation, and also the AI is unable to alter the pitch at unexpected places or throw in nuances of timbre or pronunciation or whatever. And those things were present in the recordings that I received from the band. And my memory is a little bit fuzzy, and I'll tell you why here in just a little bit. But Lilith's speaking voice off stage sounded to me just like the recordings I got back. So, did they send me an AI generated audio thing? I don't think they did. Now, I do have one criticism. There was no onstage banter, no stage chatter at all, not even introductions of the band members. Although I was so enthralled during the show, I didn't even notice it. This didn't occur to me until I was, I don't know, I guess somewhere over Mexico, flying north a day or two later. None. But I think I get it. The band, an opening band, Dogma played for such a long time, they probably just didn't have room to throw in chatter. And think about it. I mean, it's almost unheard of for an opening band to get more than 5 or 6 songs. And if they get 7, they don't hardly say anything at all in between them because they don't have the time. They've got to squeeze everything into as short a period of time as they can. And think about this, right? Would you rather hear, hey, insert name of city, are you ready to rock? Or some other generic stuff like that? Or would you rather get another song or two? Well, speaking just for myself, I will take the extra music every time. So, yeah, Dogma just killed it. And if you want to catch a band with upper shelf musical skills, delivering really well-written material with a magnetic collective stage persona on their very first tour, if you can still get to one of their gigs, I encourage you to do it. Okay, that's the official end of the review of the show. I want to say something now about meeting and greeting, and for a couple of reasons. First, no matter what time it says on your ticket for the meet and greet, even if you call the venue and speak with someone there in person and they tell you what time the meet and greet is, and I know this because I had both those experiences, get there much, much earlier than the ticket says. I mean much earlier. Not just so that you get a good place in line, but so that you will actually get into the venue in time for the actual meeting and greeting. Because the doors at the Cantaro Theater in Lima, Peru opened at 8 o'clock sharp, which was the time on the ticket for the meet and greet. And it's what the guy at the theater told me on the phone. I don't know what guy. My son and I were into the theater by 8:10, and the first thing I said to a guy was, "Where is the meet and greet for Dogma?" And he looked at me and kind of, had one of those looks and said, "Well, that's over. You missed that." To say I was irked is an understatement, right? But I mean, I didn't let it show. It's not this guy's fault, right? And he even said, "Come with me. Let's see what we can do." Well, all right, so we did. My son Ian and I followed this guy into the main venue, and this is small. Man, if this place can hold more than 800 people, I don't see how. I guess everybody would have to exhale and then never breathe during the entirety of whatever performance. But we went up to the stage, and we were 8, maybe 9 feet from the stage. And so we just waited there, and this guy ran up a short flight of stairs, like 3, 4 stairs, into a door just off stage right, came right back out again, and came down and said, "I'm sorry, they can't do it." So we said, "Well, you tried. Thank you very much." And then almost immediately we discovered why they couldn't do it, because Dogma came right out and started their set. And I was enthralled. Now, I was, pardon my language, so pissed off at missing the meet and greet that I was thinking, will I even enjoy the show? I mean, we're going to stay for Dogma's set, obviously, because nothing against Windrose. I really like Windrose. But Dogma were the main reason that, I traveled, a sixth of the way around the globe to be at this show. So, yeah, I was pissed. But I thought, well, all right, we'll stay. We'll try to enjoy the show, and then, we'll grab a T-shirt and leave. Because, yeah, not happy. We didn't have to try to enjoy the show because it was so excellent, as I have just talked about. I was enthralled. And at the end of the show, this is when things get weird and my memory gets a little bit fuzzy. Dogma's set ends, people scattered to the bathrooms and the merch stands. My son and I take about 2 steps toward Dogma's merch stand, and one of Dogma's managers finds us and says, essentially, "Let's go meet the band." Are you kidding me? I could hardly believe this was happening. But we did. We met the band, and between the surprise of this happening at all and being in the presence of these five women who together they just radiate charisma. Man, I got maybe one out of every 5 words that was said. I had a bunch of things to say and to ask, prepared in advance, right? In case I got a chance to ask or say them. But my brain just, I was so star-stricken and my brain was just so exploded, I couldn't remember a damn thing. And I came off looking and sounding like a total idiot. And I know you're watching this video saying, well, that's not very unusual, but that's what happened. My son, oh, Cthulhu bless him, put his hand on my shoulder at one point and leaned around and said to the band, forgive him, this is all he's been able to talk about for weeks. So, anyway, so that was pretty cool. I don't remember leaving the theater and going outside and getting to the spot where we were going to rendezvous with an Uber, but clearly it happened, so there you are. I will say one thing. Now, the ladies did not break character, okay? We didn't meet the musicians, we met the musicians in character, okay? And I will say, however, Abrahel, the drummer, has a very soft voice. In fact, Abrahel's voice was so soft, I had to lean in and ask her to repeat what she said, who she was, which was dumb because obviously I knew who she was. And as a result, I think Abrahel kind of has a thing for me now. All right, I'm told that's not actually the case and it's completely a figment of my imagination. Well, that sucks. But anyway, it was a really good show, a really great experience, even if I had not gotten to meet the band, which was a huge thing for me. A big life event, it would have been great. And I realized, by the by, that those, what were they, 10 minutes maybe, plus 5 getting ready, that the band and their managers and the crew took in order to do this, this was precious time that they all normally would have been using to, disrobe and de-makeup, let's pretend like that's a word, and pack up gear so they can get the hell back to the hotel and get up the next day and go do it all again. But they took the time. One of their managers found us, said, hey, let's meet the band. And it was great. I don't know who this was, by the way. I have a terrible memory for names and faces, and I've never met any of these folks in person before. I think it was one of the Rabachino brothers. I think Ian DeLeo was there also, but hey, I could be totally mistaken. And that is what I have got. You all catch this band if you possibly can. Thank you so much for watching this video. By the way, huge thanks to the people at the We Are Dogma group at a website that YouTube tends to erase mentions of. So we'll just say it rhymes with dead it. Go to the We Are Dogma sub dead it, and you'll find all kinds of really helpful, friendly people and great information. So that is that. Thanks so much for watching. Tune in again sometime really soon. You guys are awesome. Talk to you later.